the juvenile system to take care of my son, and they didn't take care of my son. I trusted if my son was injured for them to make sure he had accurate medical help. When he hit his head, it should have been more than just an observer of somebody looking at him. They should have taken him to the hospital. I should have been notified. I was at court that day, and nobody notified me. I talked to JC later that afternoon after court. Nobody notified me. I went to visit him. If I didn't, his father went that day. Nobody notified us. It took 3 weeks after my son was admitted into Emmanuel Hospital to be notified that something had went terribly wrong in the juvenile system's custody.
And you asked after that first, the court case on March the 20th?
March 2nd.
Sorry, March the 2nd. You asked for him to get some help. You said there's something wrong with him and you wanted some help, and you asked. What happened?
They told me due to the fact that he had an attorney, I would have to go through his attorney. But under my distress and the judge's distress, they were told by the judge to get with the mother and find out what's going on. And I was just as concerned as the judge, because I knew that wasn't my son that I had dropped off the night before in that courtroom. And they said nothing was wrong.
Do you think there should be mental health treatment inside of jails and inside of the children's facilities?
I think that should be mandatory, because so many of our young children does have issues. And we think it's a behavior issue when it really is a mental health issue. And we need to be more observant of our children in the system, because you should just be observant. You know, sometimes when kids have never experienced being incarcerated, it causes a mental health stress. And we need to be very aware of that. Every kid is not as strong as the next kid. Every kid, because they are just kids, every kid can't handle the same stress as other kids. So I think that should be implanted as a part of the assessment when they come into the juvenile justice, is they automatically have a mental health evaluation of nothing else but 10 questionnaires.
Well, what about those people that say, well, they committed a crime?
I mean, at the end of the day, they're just kids. And according to the law of Oregon, it's just adjudication if it's not a Measure 11. So if your child is in there under adjudication, which is not a felony crime, it can seem to be a felony, but that crime will be gone when they're 18. So do we just write them off because they made a mistake? Or we just stop upholding them because they make mistakes? They're kids. As adults, we make mistakes. So let's grow from this. I just want to bring awareness and to make sure, because there's a lot of kids who this happened to and it gets swept under the rug. And there's not a parent that's going to speak out. There's not a mother who's not going to be concerned. There's going to be a mother who lets juvenile tell them what to do and brush it off like they thought they could do me. But you should be always aware of your kids' surroundings, whether it's at home, juvenile justice. Everybody should be held accountable for your children. And especially in incarceration, they should be held just as much accountable as you to make sure that their safety is intact.